move a little closer. I'll try and talk real loud, and hopefully that'll be enough for everybody. We'll get going. First, a little bio about myself. I'm known as the PC guy because I had the Minnesota license plate for PC guy. I'm the son of John Kreuzer here at Carondelet. John's in back there. I retired after 30 years at 3M in their information technology area. I'm an officer and presenter for the 3M Personal Computing Club for over 40 years, and at our peak with the PC Club, we had over 1,200 members. I do offer free computer help, and my email is on the back, so if you do have a question or a problem, you can contact me and we'll see what can be done. I mentioned that I'm thrifty, I'm not cheap. So if there's an inexpensive solution, I usually will look for that. And certainly in computers, software and hardware, there's all kinds of solutions. What's that? Okay. So is the phone done there? That's good. Okay, I usually do these presentations once a month. So the next presentation will be October 25th. And that presentation will be on smart devices. We'll talk again about a little bit about Alexa, turning on and off lights with your voice, cameras that you can put in. So lots of smart devices out there. We'll talk briefly about all that. Well, also along with my sister and brother-in-law, Gary, we put on a Fix-It clinic. We just had a Fix-It clinic this last Monday. We usually do those every 2 months. So our next Fix-It clinic will be in November, probably towards the end of November, before Thanksgiving. So if you do have anything that's broken or not working, you can bring it to the next Fix-It clinic. Okay, I mentioned the Carondelet website here, and it's also listed on the handout. I have a little, some information and some help out there. So if you go out to the website, if you go to Tech Help, there's the calendar. So when we schedule or when I schedule the new meetings and things like that, I put that out there. It's also out on Wellzesta, so we do put the things out on Wellzesta. But I also put the past meeting recordings. So I'm recording this meeting, and so if you miss it or want to see it again, or maybe it was a little too hard to hear, if you watch the video, you can turn on the closed captions and you can watch it and read the closed captions also. The mic isn't working. I'm not sure. Yeah, they put new mics in here, and it's working okay into the room there, but it's not coming out of the room and into the speakers out here. So, unfortunately. So you've got headphones there. Do you? That's for sister hearing. Oh, okay, so that's on there. Yeah, because I've got one. My dad has hearing too, but unfortunately his is wireless, so I clip that on and it goes directly to him. But if you want to sit a little closer to that, you can probably hear a little better then. But yeah, the past meetings, the recordings are out there, also the handouts. So if you did miss a meeting or want to revisit a meeting, you can go out there. Also, I have some frequently asked questions. And if you want to ask a question out there and contact me, you can use the contact that's out on the Carondelet website there. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we'll get to our main topic today, which is smartphone security tips by myself, Tom Kreuzer. We'll talk about phone setup, backing up the phone, passwords, and then lost or stolen phone. What should you do when that happens? Okay, each day, 200,000 devices are lost, stolen, or damaged. So if you think it can't happen to you, it can happen to you. Phones today contain a large part of our life. That includes financial information, photos, calendars, contacts, messages, passwords, and more. Just like we would protect our wallet, it's important to protect your phone for peace of mind that your data will not end up in the hands of those who could use it to do you harm. Whether you become a victim of a phone hacker, a virus, you lose your phone somewhere, or it just stops working, there's a lot at stake should your phone data get compromised. Today's phones offer many ways to protect you. You can use them. If you use them right, you can get your protection. Oh, thanks for coming up there. The mic seems to be working up here and in there, but we can't get anything.
Test.
Yeah, so I can see it. I can see it going in there, and so.
Test. Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if within the system if there was some other switch to get the speakers there. We'll see if we can get that fixed there. So today's phones offer many ways to protect you, and you just have to set them up and use them right. The most likely cause of a security failure is simply a failure on the behalf to secure your stuff. So what I mean by that is you are the weakest link. The people with the phone and what you do with the phone are the weakest link there. So if you don't turn on the security, or you don't set up a good password, or you aren't backing up the phone, unfortunately, you're the weakest link. So we'll talk about how you can not be the weakest link, utilize the power of the phones there, and make sure that you're protected if anything happens. So first we'll talk about the settings. So most of what I talk about for setting up here, you can verify on your phone that things are turned on or the settings are turned on. And what you run into today, if you haven't found that in some of the things, is the phones and operating systems vary on where some of these settings are. So you may read an article, or on TV they may even say, go out to your settings and look in here. Well, you go out to your phone and you go into settings and you can't find it, and it doesn't end up on there. So the versions, it can vary, and it can make it hard to find where to change one of the hundreds of settings that your phone may have. You can use what I recommend doing. So when I talk about going to your settings, whether you have an Apple phone or you have an Android phone, or you're on version 16 or version 17 or version 14, the easiest way to find some of these settings is to go in and do a search. So if you go into your settings right away, you'll see a little search spyglass here, and that lets you type in what you're searching for. You can try the menu, and the menu, you can go through the menu and try and find things, but if you can't find it right away, certainly use the search. You'll find that it's easier there. Like I mentioned, many articles, if it's in the paper or on TV, will try and help you by giving directions on where that setting is located, but in many cases it's moved or is under a different name, or you just have a different phone from what they're showing in that. So this search can save you a lot of time and aggravation trying to find where that setting is. So I use this setting search almost all the time now because I help people out and we're going from phone to phone and trying to find things. It can be an easier way to find the stuff out there. Okay, some more phone setup. So to get to the settings, you'll go and search there. Now we'll talk about some of the things that you should check or make sure that you have set up on your phone. I mentioned here that your screen must be locked. It's an option to lock it, but I'm saying you must lock your phone when you're not using it and when it's turned on to prevent unauthorized access if it's lost or stolen. So if you don't put one of these locks on and somebody finds your phone or you leave it somewhere, all they have to do is turn it on and they have access to everything that you have on the phone. This surprised me that this figure I saw from 2018, only 50% of the people use a phone lock. Do people want to raise their hand? How many people make sure that their phone is locked? Okay. You really want your phone to be locked in case you do lose it, in case it is stolen, in case it just goes somewhere. You want to make sure that somebody who shouldn't be getting into your phone is not able to get in there. And here I mentioned for an Android phone, you usually go into settings, screen, or lock screen. For Apple, you go to settings, touch ID, and passcode. So that's where you can either search again for the stuff, but you can go to these places to check your settings on it being locked. When you go to that and turn on locked, if you haven't turned on locked, there's a number of different ways that you can lock your smartphone. And so we'll go through them one by one. And the first way, which is the most common that people use, is using a PIN or a passcode. That's a 4 to 7 digits code that you put in every time you turn on your phone or you wake it up to use it there. Now, if you're just using 4 digits, so the early phones and the early operating systems only required you to put in 4 digits, and people were using 4 digits. Well, 4 digits means that if somebody's trying to break into your phone, how many different options would they have to try to break in? Well, it'd be 10,000. And that's a lot of options there, but I could write a program on the computer that would go through the 10,000 very quickly and break into the phone. So using 4 digits is safer than not using any digits, but I recommend that you use 6 or 7 digits in your PIN or passcode. And if you're using 7 digits gives you 10 million possible combinations of numbers there. And I mentioned here, don't use overly simple codes like a year, month, and a day of your birth. So people will say, well, I want to remember things, so I'm going to use a birthday. Well, if somebody truly is trying to break into your phone, they're going to try some of these most common things. And birthday is one of them. Phone number is another one. An address that you have, that can be, or any other guessable sequence of numbers that you might use. So you want that PIN to be 6 to 7 characters and kind of unique there. That unique enough that you can remember it, but not that somebody else could guess it. Another way to lock your phone, and you can do this in addition to the PIN, is with a fingerprint. Most of the phones nowadays will let you use a fingerprint to open your phone or to lock it there. And when you do scan your fingerprint, I recommend that you scan 2 different fingers on each hand. That'll make it easy when you're picking up your phone, if you pick it up with your left hand, to open it up with fingers on your left hand, or if you pick it up with your right hand, to open it up if you to open it up with one of your fingers there. So you can scan multiple fingers. Some people just set up one finger, and I go, doesn't cost you anything. Might as well set up other fingers to make it easier to get into your phone there. Another option that you have for locking your screen or unlocking it is an unlock pattern. So you'll see a series of 9 dots up on the screen, and you can do a pattern. Oh, I'm going to do a circle and a dot, or I'm going to do this. I personally don't recommend that. Those patterns, people tend to use too simplistic a pattern in there. And also, let's say you were in a grocery store or at a bar, somebody watching you unlock can see if yours is a circle and a dot in the middle there. I can see that. That's pretty easy there for me to, if I stole your phone, I'd be able to unlock it. So the patterns I don't really recommend there, but it's an option on almost all the phones. Another one is Face ID. That's an option for it to recognize your face. Personally, I don't recommend it. I recommend the fingerprint more so than the Face ID because the fingerprint is more secure than the Face ID. Face ID, it has been shown on some cases that if I take a good picture of a person and put it up in front of the phone there, I can unlock the phone just with a picture of a person. So, whereas a fingerprint, there usually isn't a photo or anything that I can do to replicate that fingerprint. So fingerprint, I recommend that being used more so than the Face ID. And the last is passwords. So passwords, the PIN passcode are digits, numbers, and that passwords, yes, you could use a password. I don't recommend that because, again, people forget passwords or things like that. That the PIN usually and the fingerprint are what I'd recommend for people. But if you're using some of these others, you can use it. Just be aware that you may be making it harder for yourself, or if you're using the pattern and you've got a simple pattern, you're not really, not a whole lot of security there. Okay, some more phone setup here. So that locking, you can configure your phone on how long it takes of inactivity before it locks itself. And that period of inactivity, I believe, goes from like 10 seconds up till, I think, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Now, what that means is if you're not using your phone and it sits idle there, it will then lock itself. And you want it to automatically lock there because you're not always going to use the power button to turn it, to kind of lock it or protect it there. So you do want it to lock, and the time frame that I recommend is usually 1 to 2 minutes for most people is adequate time. If you make it too short, and let's say you go out to a website or you do a Google search and you're sitting watching the screen, and if your time is 20 seconds or 30 seconds, you may still be reading what's on the screen, and then your screen locks on you. So you don't want it to lock too quickly, and you don't want it to remain unlocked for, let's say, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, because that would mean that if you were, let's say you went out to eat and you left your phone on the table and you had it open, you don't want it to be open for somebody walking by to possibly take your phone and start using it. Okay, another setting in your phone is you want to make sure and enable Find My Phone on the Apple, and it's called Find My Device on the Android. And this lets you see the last known location and the ability to lock and erase the phone if needed. And we'll talk about that, and I'll show some examples in a little bit there. And this is kind of what it looks like there. But again, you can use the settings search to find this and make sure. By default, when you get a new phone, by default, these are turned on, but some people turn them off, thinking that I don't want the government tracking me, or I don't want things like that. Well, I wouldn't worry about the government tracking you. I'd worry about losing my phone or having somebody steal my phone or misplacing my phone, leaving it at a restaurant or somewhere. So the benefit that you have of doing this, and none of this data that's used in Find My Phone or Find My Device is available to the government. So the government, if it wants to track you down, no setting on your phone is going to prevent the government from tracking you down, because right. Well, or what you have is people think when I turn off location, this is location services or GPS. You don't need GPS even to kind of track a person, because if you've watched any of the crime shows, you know that if you have a cell phone plan, so AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, any of those plans, your phone has to connect to a tower. Well, your cell phone company has that information. That's how they keep track of all the calls that you make and the time and how to route it to the proper place. So turning off some of this stuff on your phone, the only person you're hurting is yourself. You're not protecting yourself from the government tracing you or your cell phone provider tracing you. Okay, I also mentioned when you're in the phone settings, what you want to do is you want to record this number and letters, which is called the International Mobile Equipment Identification Number, IMEI. So this is a number. Sometimes, well, most of the time it's printed on the box. When you buy a new phone, it's printed on the box. But you can also find it in your phone settings. If you have an AT&T or a T-Mobile account and go out online to the account, it'll show the number out there. In some phones, it's actually printed on the phone in the back, engraved in the phone on the back there. It's a unique number, making that device unique all throughout the world. As we talk later, you'll see that in some cases, if you lose your phone or report it stolen or things like that, it's good to have this number because the police can make sure that you are the owner of the phone. Your phone company can make sure and shut things down for that ID and things like that in there. Also, I recommend usually in the same place is you'll see a serial number for your phone, and it's good to record that. And both those numbers, I'm recommending that you record those numbers in a place that you can always find it. And I recommend a password manager, because we'll be talking about security a little bit later, and I recommend that everybody have a password manager. And it's kind of like a notebook for your passwords and your accounts. Well, you can also put other information in there. So I can put in an entry into my password manager that says phone info, and it has this IMEI, and it has the serial number. What that means is if my phone was stolen or I want to look it up at any point, I can log into my password manager on any other device. If I have a tablet, a laptop, a friend's computer, a friend's phone, I could log into my password manager, I could get that information, and I could use it if I'm filing a police report or if you're talking to your phone service provider. Okay, the next thing we'll talk about is backup. So those are the basic settings, and not a whole lot of settings, and most of those settings default to what I recommend, but some people have turned them off, or they may have said, I don't want a lock on my phone, I just want to be able to turn on the power button and use the phone right away. Well, I recommend that PIN or a password or a fingerprint or that to make sure. But now we'll talk about backup. You want to make sure in backup your accounts, your contacts, your photos, your videos, your text messages, your call logs, your emails, your settings, and the apps that you have. And I recommend backing up to one or more cloud services. So most of the phones nowadays, if you have an Apple phone, it's going to be backing itself up to the Apple iCloud. So unless you turn that off, you're getting the stuff backed up. It's only if you turned it off that I'd recommend turning it back on, because backups will allow you to restore the information if your phone is lost, if it's stolen, if it's broken, if it's erased, or even setting up a new phone. It just makes it handier and easier if your phone is backed up there. And I mentioned here the most popular cloud service. So if you have an Apple phone, most likely it's backed up to the Apple iCloud. Apple gives you 5 gigabytes of free space, and then if you need more space, so if you take a lot of videos and a lot of photos, you're going to have to pay to back that up. But again, who wants to lose their photos, or who wants to lose information there? You want to make sure the stuff is backed up. Yes.
If my iPhone backs it up automatically, but that takes up my cloud storage. If I delete the old backup, because I know it's going to get backed up again anyway, does that free up cloud storage, or do the backups just keep piling up?
Good question. I'll repeat it for the recording here. If it's being backed up to the cloud and I delete something on my phone, pictures, let's say it's pictures or things like that, is it still up on the cloud? The answer in most cases is no. It syncs your data between here. So by default, it's syncing, which means if you delete it on your phone, it's going to be deleted up on the cloud. The only way to free up space on the phone, so if you were running out of space on the phone, usually there's an option called archive. And the archive tells Apple and these other cloud services to delete it off of your phone to free up space, but keep it up on the cloud.
But if I want to delete something from the cloud so I can use up my 5 gigabytes, can I delete old backups from the cloud and free up space in the cloud?
Good question. What you'll see out on the cloud is, let's just make it simple and we'll just talk about photos. So if I took 10 photos on my phone, those 10 photos are up on the cloud. Now, there's just one copy of those 10 photos on the cloud counting against my space. So if I delete it up on the cloud and sync is turned on, it'll delete it down on the phone, or vice versa. If I delete any of those 10 pictures on my phone, it'll be deleted from the cloud. It won't be backed up anymore. And that's a good thing. It's trying to keep it simple, because most people take a lot of photos, and so you took 6 photos, you did a burst mode, or you took a whole bunch of the same thing. The intent is you go through and you keep the best one and delete the rest, so that you keep it down. And as you delete it on the phone, it's deleted up on the cloud. And so it doesn't count against your space there. Only if you archive it, the archiving says, I no longer want it on the phone, but I want it kept up on the cloud only. And so it'll stay up on the cloud, won't be deleted on the cloud there. So hope that helps. If you have an Android phone, most likely you're using Google, and there's Google Drive. That's their cloud. Google users get 15 gigabytes of free space, and then you pay $1.99 a month for 100 gigabytes. Now, if you have a Samsung phone, Samsung also offers an option to back up the data, and you get 5 gigabytes for free, and that by default is set up on a Samsung phone to back up. And in some cases, like I got a new Samsung phone, I'm backing up to both Google Drive and Samsung Cloud. So you can back up to multiple clouds there too. The point is some of the stuff if you go into the settings, you can actually choose what gets backed up. And so if you want certain things on certain clouds, I use Google Photos. Well, Samsung doesn't have a Samsung Photos or that. It's backing up the photos, but for me to share that with friends and family and do other things, it doesn't automatically do that. So and you can never have enough backups. Let me put it that way. And I don't know if I've given the presentation on backups, but they'll talk about the rule of 3. You want to have multiple copies. You want to have them in multiple locations. So let's say a nuclear bomb went off and Samsung was destroyed. I'd have Google.
Sure.
And that's where having it multiple places, and some people will back this stuff up just locally to a hard drive or that, and that's good, except if somebody breaks into your apartment and takes your computer and your hard drive, then you'll wish that you had it on the cloud somewhere, and so there's advantages to having it in multiple places and having a strategy of what data is going to be located where. Okay? Microsoft also has a cloud. You have 5 gigabytes for free, but if you are subscribing to Microsoft 365, they give you a terabyte of information that you can use. And so that could be used to back up photos and things like that to the Microsoft cloud. So if you have that. Another option I've mentioned a little bit about in some of the other presentations I've given, if you have family photos and you have an Amazon Prime account, you can upload an unlimited number of photos to Amazon Prime for free. So there's an option of why should I be paying Apple to back up my photos when I run out of space when I can get it for free if you have Amazon Prime. And same is true of Google Photos, Adobe, and others. And for videos, I recommend, the last presentation I gave was on YouTube. I recommend people use YouTube to store their videos. Videos get very large in size, and so it can cost you quite a bit if you take a lot of videos of grandchildren or other people, and all of a sudden you're paying $12 a month in storage fees up on the cloud. Well, you can do some of this for free then using some of these others. So then I'd back up all of my stuff except photos and videos to the Apple iCloud and some of these other places and not have to pay for storage there.
Question.
Sure.
Can you delete something from Facebook? I read Facebook things, and I don't need it anymore. I don't want it taking up room. Can you delete those?
Yeah, I'll repeat. The question was, can you delete something from Facebook? Facebook doesn't charge, so you could put as many pictures out on Facebook as you wanted, as much text, anything that you want. If you no longer want that out there because maybe it was a picture of somebody and you don't want that to be out there, you can, there's usually 3 dots next to the post that you make. If you click on those 3 dots, you can permanently delete that posting there, and that would get rid of it. But in most cases, people just want to keep it because it's a diary, it's a log, it's of what happened at that time. So, and it doesn't cost you. There's no cost for anything on Facebook there. Okay.
A Google photo is free as well.
No, Google Photos originally was free, unlimited videos, unlimited photos, and then about 5 years ago they changed it to where it counts against your 15 gigabytes of space.
They could give you 15.
Yeah, you do get 15, which is a lot of space out there for photos. It's just if you have video and if you have high quality 4K video, I could eat up that 15 gigabytes. If I went to a grandson's basketball game and left my camera on for an hour there, it would more than eat up that 15 gigabytes of space. Okay. And maybe we'll have a presentation later about backing up and some of the options too, because it is important, and we'll see. I could go into a lot more detail. Passwords. So on your devices, you do have a lot of accounts and passwords. And here I say you must be using a password manager. In the past, I used to recommend that people use a password manager, but over time, people get more and more accounts, more and more passwords, and they forget the passwords, or they've got it in a book, or they've got it in post-it notes, or they just forget what it is. And you can protect yourself by using a password manager. Then you only have to remember one password to get into your password manager. And there is free software out there, and I recommend Bitwarden. And let's go through some of the benefits of using a password manager. You don't have to remember each password. So each of those passwords that you have can be unique, long, and strong. And those are important because you don't want passwords that people can guess. You don't want you want to change them, things like that. So there's if you're trying to keep track of them on paper and pencil or Post-its, it just doesn't work well. This Bitwarden package, as an example, is available on multiple devices, whether you have a phone, whether it's an Android phone or an Apple phone, a tablet, a laptop, a desktop, whether you're in Windows or Android or Apple, it's on all devices. So if you put an entry in the password manager, so you just set up a Lunds account to get the Lunds member benefits, well, you set it up on one device, now it's available on all devices. So it's handy there. And strong passwords, this is where it can generate the passwords for you. So the password, let's say it's going to be 16 characters long of random characters that nobody is ever going to be able to guess, and nobody's ever going to, that's the strongest password that you can do there. It can generate that for you, store it in there. You're not going to have to keep entering that or type it in or things like that when you use the password manager. Makes it easy to change your passwords. You have cloud backup of your passwords, so this information is easy. So if your phone is stolen, or I've known people that have had the stuff written down in a notebook, and then they lose their notebook, and they go, well, I don't know the passwords. Well, some of them you can reset, but some of them you can't there. But this password manager, or any of these password managers, will be backing up that information. They'll let you track old passwords. They'll let you put in challenge questions. So some of the banks will have additional challenge questions that you put in questions and answers for. Also, you can store credit card information and other sensitive information, whether it's your social security number or the serial number to the phone that I recommended putting in there. This can be your spot to collect all that information. It's safer than storing accounts and passwords in a browser or other methods. The browsers nowadays, if you're using it like a Chrome or an Edge, it'll say, do you want me to remember your password? Well, it can remember it for you, but it's not the safest and the securest. And it's not necessarily available then on all your other devices. So that's why I recommend a true password manager program like Bitwarden, or Bitwarden is free. You may have heard of LastPass. LastPass used to have a really good free version, but now you have to pay a monthly fee for LastPass. So there are other good password managers, but it is
One
changed.
password stacker.
Excuse me?
One password stacker.
I guess I'm not sure. How does one password?
One password.
Oh, one pass. Yeah, any of the password managers are good password managers. They all have basic functions. If there's specific functions that you want, so some of the others you have to either pay or aren't available, and some of the password managers are things like, I've got an executor of my estate. Well, I want to give them access. So what's the mechanism to give them access? So some of them let you put your wills and your documents out there. And so there's other features and functions in some of these password managers, but any of the password managers are better than a browser or a post-it note or writing them down there. And I just recommend Bitwarden just because I'm thrifty, I'm not cheap. Also, I mentioned here, there are apps like Bitwarden, or if you're going out to your bank or your financial, that allow you to use fingerprints also to get in. So that can be handy there because, well, we won't go into the detail there. And I've done past presentations on online security and passwords. So you could look out there for the April 2022 presentation, or I may be giving it in a few more months again. I'll update it and give it again. Okay, next let's talk about a lost or stolen phone. A thief can watch a user unlock their phone and then steal the phone and immediately transfer money from apps like Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, crypto to the thief's account. So that was a popular thing in the last couple of years, is distract somebody in a bar or that and grab their phone while it's unlocked and steal their money. Some thieves may attempt to change the password associated with your Apple ID or your Google account after they steal the phone. If they're able to do that, that would lock the owner out of the phone. And so you don't want to be in that situation. So you can enable account restrictions to prevent your passwords from being changed. These thefts happen in places where people tend to be inattentive while drinking or socializing at bars. Self-defense, cover your screen in public and be aware of your surroundings. Thieves who steal a locked phone usually attempt to sell the phone as soon as possible before the phone gets reported as stolen. So let's go through some of the steps if you lose your phone or you think it's been stolen. The first thing you should do is check that it isn't just misplaced. The easiest way to do that is, if you have somebody near you or you have another phone, is call it. Call that number and see if you can hear it ringing. Then you found your phone. But let's say you call that and you aren't hearing it ring, and so you have no answer. Well, what you can do then is you can use the websites out here. Apple has out on their website a function called Find My iPhone. And Google has one called Find My Device. And Samsung has one called Find My Mobile. And we'll go through that. The way that you do that is you go out to one of these websites. You log into the website. So if I'm going out to Google, I use my Google account and password to log in. And then you follow the instructions. They're very simple. If it is somewhere that you haven't been or appears to be on the move, so this will show you in real time where the phone is going or where it's located. If it's moving, someone else has your phone and it may be stolen. The smart thieves will turn off the phone almost immediately after they've tried to move stuff out of your bank account, because if they turn it off, then these Find My iPhone or Find My Device is only going to show the last location where the phone was. So that's helpful, but the phone, if it's turned off, the thief may be blocks away or somewhere else there. Just because you can see where the phone is, it doesn't mean that you should immediately start tracking down the person. So if you lost this and you suspect that somebody has stolen it, you don't know if that person may have a gun, you don't know if that person may do you bodily harm. So while it may be tempting to confront a thief, you want to get law enforcement agencies involved to help you there. So let's go through with the Find My Phone real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out. Right now I'm at a Google search here, and I'll pretend I don't know where this service is. So I can just type in Find My, and you see there's iPhone, there's this. I have Android, so I'm going to do Find My Device. And hit enter here, and here's a Google service for Find My Device. So if I click on this, what it did is I had already been logged on. So my account here, it used my account and my password to log into the Google service there. And the Google service located my phone. So I have a Galaxy A14 5G. And if you look on here, this little green icon, it's showing my location. I'm in Carondelet here. So if I wanted, if let's say I'm not sure, I can't find my phone in the apartment, or I don't know if I left it at the bistro or something like that, I can do this. Here's an option here, play a sound. And it can play this sound for up to 5 minutes here. So I can wander around the room, I can go somewhere, I can try and track it down there. Let's stop it here, that's getting a little annoying. And we'll talk about some of these other options here back on the slides, but I can secure my device. So if I think it's stolen, I can lock it so that somebody can't do anything here. Also, it's a case of this is showing me, in my case for this phone, the location was last updated 2 minutes ago. It's on the PHS guest Wi-Fi, and my battery is sitting at 87%. So it gives you some useful information. If your battery's about to run out, you better find your phone in a hurry there, because the deal there. Now, this is the phone that I currently have. I have an older phone too. That older phone, I'm not using a cell phone plan, but I can check its location. So if you have multiple devices, they'd all show up here. I can check out this one, and let's see if it can find this device here. Come on here. I thought I turned it on. Give it a second here. So this is at my house. That phone is back at my house, and the battery is 91%. It's a Motorola G stylus phone, and come on here. Oh, can't reach device. Oh, it's having a little trouble finding it there. Wow. We'll try one quick deal there. But it would show me the location of that one. I could find it. So if you have multiple devices, if you're married or things like that, you can find those. If you have an iPhone and you have an iPad and you have a laptop, Apple laptop, you can find all of those devices. So you'd see all kinds of devices at the top that you could find there. Let's go back here. And let's go here. I mentioned just briefly there that also when you find it, if you suspect that the phone has been stolen, or let's say you even left it at a restaurant, and you just want to make sure that somebody can't use it, I could lock the phone remotely using the Find feature. That locks it so that nobody can get into the phone and do anything. You can usually also leave a message on your device. So if somebody tries to turn it on or that, it says, call this number, call this phone number, or this belongs to Jim Smith. So you can put a message on there that somebody would see if they found the phone on your table, or you were out eating and they found the phone on the table, they could see it there. If you're certain that somebody has stolen it and you're not going to get your phone back or that, you can take it even one step further and do what's called an erase. So the erase is just like it sounds. It goes through and erases everything on the phone. So nobody would be able to get any data, wouldn't be able to use the phone to make telephone calls, they wouldn't be able to do anything. So this Find My Phone or Find My Device is very powerful. What you should do is if you suspect that your phone has been stolen, is call your cell phone provider to suspend your service and prevent unauthorized charges like overseas calls, or if you're not able to perform the remote lock, your provider might be able to deactivate your phone for you also. But you want to prevent some of these unauthorized charges as quick as possible. Also, if you suspect that the phone has been stolen, you want to make sure and change your email, your bank, your financial and shopping passwords if any of these had auto log on or saved passwords. And this is where if you were using a browser and you had it automatically log you on, well, you want to change that password as quick as possible, because if the thief got into your phone and got access, all they'd do is click and they'd be out at your bank there. Call your bank to let them know that your phone has been stolen and ask if there's been any recent activities on your accounts or credit cards that you may have. Monitor your accounts for a few days or weeks after and watch for suspicious activity. Sixth thing here, file a police report. And you can do that via your local non-emergency number. So you don't call 911. St. Paul has a separate number, and Minneapolis has a separate number. You can Google to find the non-emergency number. Law enforcement agents are not going to rush a SWAT team out to your location and immediately try and find your phone. That isn't going to happen. Chances are they aren't going to be able to find your phone or do much there, but you do want to report it. So that way, if you can get to your Finder application and tell them where it might be, that can help there, and they may send somebody out. Otherwise, just filing the report is important, because if you're going to dispute charges on your credit card or your bank withdrawals or things like that, you need a police report. Or if you're going to file an insurance claim on your phone being stolen, you're going to need a police report. And so you do want to file these things. This is where it's important, like I mentioned, if you've written down or have access to your IMEA number or in the serial number of the phone, that can be important for proving that it truly is your phone and that. Contact your insurance company if you have insurance for your phone that protects against loss or theft. You may have purchased it when you bought your phone, or it may be covered under your home insurance, so check with that. This is just a little tip I put. Practice what to do before it goes bad. So this is some detailed instructions if you have an Apple phone or if you have an Android phone, some things to go through and practice. Other tips, keep your phone operating system updated. That way a virus or a hacker can't exploit vulnerabilities. Manufacturer stops support of the latest operating systems for phones, usually after 3 to 5 years. So if your phone is getting old, if you have an iPhone 5 or a 6 or a 7, those really aren't supported anymore and shouldn't be used because they are vulnerable to viruses and hackers there. Only install apps from trusted sources. So if you're installing apps, if you're on an Android phone, Google Play. That's the only place you should go out to install apps. If you're on an Apple phone, you're using iTunes, or that's the only place you should be installing from. delete apps that you don't use anymore, understand app permissions before accepting them. So when you install a new app, frequently you'll get these messages that say, do you want to give permission to your contacts, to your photos, to your accounts and things like that. You don't want to give permission to like a weather app to access these things. Watch out for scams. We've talked about scams before. See the past presentation on scams. Wipe data on your old phone before you donate it or resell it or recycle it. And all the phones have an option in the settings where you can reset it to factory, which means that it doesn't have any of your data on there. Avoid public charging stations unless there's an emergency. Hackers have been known to use fake charging stations. It's called juice jacking. Some people recommend a VPN service. I usually don't think you don't have to have a VPN service, but if you feel more comfortable, it's a way that you can prevent some types of viruses in that. Some people in the past have done what's called rooting their phones or a jailbreak on an iPhone. This is so that you can move the phone between AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, the different phone plans. You usually don't want to root your phone or jailbreak it because that has compromised the security of your phone, making it easier for somebody else to get into the phone and make changes. Turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi when you're not using it. That's one way to save on batteries, but it also makes your phone more secure, especially important if you're in public spaces or if you leave Bluetooth and Wi-Fi access on. It's easier for hackers to connect to devices and transfer files there. And then I mentioned here almost everything that we talked about for a phone, setting up security and stuff like that, also pertains to laptops. So on most of the laptops, I can do a Find My Device, I can do these protections, the locking of the screen and stuff like that. So you want to make sure on all these devices to protect yourself. Okay, that's the end. Any questions or comments? Yes?
Those of us without usable fingerprints, we really don't get any kind of option other than the longer pass, longer digit thing.
Right. If your phone doesn't support it, there isn't.
My phone supports it, but I have invisible fingerprints.
Okay. Yeah, then you're out of luck there, unless you got somebody else's finger to bring along there and that.
After 9/11, airline employees had to be fingerprinted. It took 3 police departments and a physical visit for fingerprints to allow you to work.
Oh, no. Other questions or comments there? Yes.
I use my phone as my clock. And so when it's idle, I've got it by me. And you have any advice that don't lock it down?
You can still have, so like my phone is currently locked, but if I press the power button or anything, the time and the date always shows. So if you're using it just for the time and the date, now if I want to unlock it and check something, then I have a fingerprint, so I can just go on the side here and then see that's how long it took me to open it up and get it instantly.
What I want to do is, I have it there, so that if I get a phone call, I hear the phone call right away. So that's why I don't want to lock it.
Well, again, it's what I'd recommend is lock it, but then practice unlocking it. So let's just pretend this is sitting by my bedside and I hear the phone ring. So your phone will ring when it's locked. Your phone will ring. So I hear my phone ringing. I pick up my phone. To answer the phone, I don't have to unlock there. But if I did unlock, you see it took me less than a second to unlock it.
So just picking it up is...
And I'm using my fingerprint. instead of having to type in a code there. That's why I recommend the fingerprint and the PIN there as ways to get into your phone.
Give it a try.
Yeah, and practice it. So I mean, you can put it on your bedstand or whatever, and just pretend that you're trying to answer it there, and see how fast you can answer it and get it open and things like that. Okay, other questions? Okay, well, thanks for coming, and have a good day. And next month we'll cover the other subject there. Thanks. Let me. Here, I've got one here. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Or I guess, yeah. Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Have you secured down the phone and